Hey guys, SupernovaRevenge here, and today I'm back for episode number 7 of r/SupernovaRevenge. And today I only have 2 stories lined up. This subreddit is like heavy on the cross post, so I can't really find many stories. And I know I'm repeating myself in each episode, but I'm just trying to get the point across of how little original content there is on this subreddit. Let's start off with this story. Sexually abused me and my brother for 4 years. I'll ruin your life, ruin your parents, and ruin your finances. And not safe for work. This is my first time using Reddit, and English is my third language, as I've only lived here 10 years. The background info. My father is Swedish and moved to Britain when he was 21. He met my mother when he was 25 and she was 16 and they had me. Wow. Jeez. You knocked your... he knocked his wife up at 16? Jeez. And they had me. From my birth, he did everything to gain citizenship. Though we lived in Sweden most of my childhood. Wait. That doesn't make sense. Now he abused my mother, so when we moved back to Britain, and 4 years after I was born, my little brother was. Throughout all this, my father abused my mother, and a few weeks after my brother was born, my mother met my stepfather and has been happy with him for 16 years. Now, my story. I have a lot of medical conditions which have affected me as a child, but I have cystic ovaries. Ooh. And start my period. No. Started my period at 9 years old. My father told me that was what becoming a woman meant, and he changed a lot. I was very young and didn't understand much, but he used to start doing sexual activities with me, but never got to the absolute worst stages. Once I turned 14, I started to understand this was wrong, and me and my brother are incredibly close, so he told me everything. When I found out what he was doing to my brother, I ended up making a deal with my father. I'd take everything, and if I ever snitched, he'd hurt my brother so badly and ensure I look responsible. To save my brother, who I had cooked for, taken to school, I'd do anything. Me and my father would sit on one couch as he touched me, and my brother on another. My father would usually leave us alone at weekend with his card to buy food and whatever he wanted. Or whatever we wanted. And during this time, my father was part of a underage child's... six ring, which I learnt later as there are videos of me. When my father would leave, he left his computer on with the black web, and then I'd search everything I could, and in 2017, this paid off with his own mistake. He was arrested for downloading and distributing child porn when he clicked on a police link that tracked him. We were both in secondary school, and both of us were pulled out of class to be told our father wasn't picking us up, which was extremely unusual as he'd never miss it. Later that night, our mother picked us up and said he downloaded illegal films as to not ruin my brother's impression of me, but when he went upstairs, I cried and told my mother everything. This is where I finally went supernova. My father confessed to everything, and for the 7 years of abuse I had, he got 3 years. And that wasn't enough. His parents called me from Sweden and said it was my fault that I was a woman and I shouldn't have tempted him with the outfits I wore and the body I had. I wore hoodies and jeans and was overweight, but I have got extreme breast size. God damn it. They told me if I told anyone in the family he was arrested, they'd take me to court. So I went further. I told every single member of my family. I messaged every single one of them, sent them letters or links showing the article, and not a single person will let them into their lives as they all have kids and worry. I then sent the letter to my grandparents' neighbor with the article, and she printed over 100 copies and handed it out to every single neighbor so he would never be allowed back there to the place all of us were raised, the family home. After ruining every single connection, telling all the family, all his friends, my grandparents' friends, and everyone I knew, I went onto the money he owned. I won 15k in court, which is also how I'm able to live at the moment during these hard times. He had no one but me to ask to sell everything and put the stuff in his list in storage for when he gets out to collect or to be sent to his parents. I sold his house for 50% less than it is worth and took 10% for selling it. I sold his new Ford car at the time for £100 severs. £100 severs several grand less than what he had paid. Everything on his list I gave away for free at the game tournament shops and kept the games and figures I wanted for myself. Everything's value ended up being given away or sold at fork all. I ruined his family's lives and his finances. He got out last year, and I got a private investigator to find out everything about his new life. As of next month, I'm sending the article to his new fiancée and every person who lives in his flat complex and to his job in Sweden. You ruin my life, make me have PTSD, anxiety, and depression, and therapy for the rest of my life. I will hunt you down no matter where you go, and will ruin you all because of what you did to me in court. I'll never stop, and frankly, I would have continued. So further, I will continue till the day you kill yourself. God damn. Just forever chasing that revenge. Not really the best idea. Is it? Like, after a while, you're gonna give up on it, right? It's just like, it goes on for decades, and it's just like, why won't you leave me alone? And she's just like, well, because you were inappropriate with me when I was a child. I don't care about you. Okay. Moving on to something else just as wrong. Flash a bunch of young children, all under... what? The youngest being 3? Prepare to be scarred for life. And apparently this is a real one, verified by the mods, and also attempted suicide. So just a disclaimer, on mobile, yada yada, I did not do the revenge. It was my mum's best friend who did it on myself and the other children's behalf. I was a child at the time, and the reason the whole thing was done. Jail time was served by 3 individuals due to the nature of this crime. I have left one individual out of the story, as she did not do much and was underage at the time of the crime. This happened around 2011-2012, so some details may be hazy, and I do apologize for that. I don't condone what my mother's friend did, but I am grateful that she did this for myself and my siblings and the other children. TLDR at the bottom, as this may be long. And we have some abbreviations as well. MBF, mum's best friend. POS, he's a short. FOF, friend of MBF. B, me, obviously. 3, the amount of siblings. Around 2010 to 2012, my mother and stepfather at the time had been slowly getting worse in their relationship, to the point my mother feared for the lives of her children, me and 3. MBF helped my mum out and said we could stay with her safely for however long it took to get her back on her feet. POS. POS was a real piece of work. He was a friend of MBF at the time and was around quite a lot in the house. I'm not gonna lie and say that at the time he wasn't the coolest person any of me and 3 had met, and he always gives us £5 whenever we ask to go to the shops. Okay. One day, MBF decided to have a birthday party for me and her own kid, hereby known as IK, or for Innocent Kid. As our birthdays were both in July, and the weather was awesome. She invited POS and his girlfriend at the time. It was relatively good fun until that night when me, 3, and IK were all starting to get tired and made our way upstairs to watch a horror film. It had been about an hour into the film when POS came upstairs into the room, looked at all of us children, and decided it'd be great to get his tiny dick out and whip it out in front of us all, as he looked at all of us children, none above the age of 13. Both IK and my birthdays were ruined. He heard one of our parents coming up and put it away and acted like a normal person again. It wasn't until 2 months later any of us told our parents. Revenge time. When MBF heard this news, she began to plot and plot and plot. And she seems to be still plotting to this day. Now, the day this had happened, I had left 5 minutes just before the revenge came to fruition. But this is what MBF and the police informed myself of while giving an interview. MBF had gotten POS drunk as fork, and while he was drinking, she was still planning. MBF can hold her liquor very well, and she knew POS couldn't. She had me confirm what had happened, and then she made her move. MBF started boiling water as if she were going to make some tea. POS, none the wiser, and FOF had turned up to really make this a party for him. While MBF was in the kitchen, FOF had begun to work her magic and brought a glass bottle with her. MBF made sure to get FOF involved first. MBF came back to the room and offered POS a freeway. POS agreed eagerly, and when POS stripped himself completely naked, FOF and MBF tied him to her bed. MBF then completely rams the glass bottle up POS's asshole. According to the police and the neighbors, his screams could be heard across the junction beside her house. MBF then plugged her iron in and waited for it to heat up. While MBF did this, FOF got the now boiled water and poured it over POS's face and body. MBF then used the iron on him. This is where the police arrived and arrested MBF and FOF. MBF and FOF got jail time. MBF 6 years for attempted murder. FOF I don't recall. IK, Free, and myself all testified against POS for indecent exposure to minors, and MBF was given 3 years of her overall sentence, and FOF got a reduced sentence. POS now has scars for life across one side of his face and all over his left side from the iron and boiling water poured on him, as well as PTSD for what happened. POS never did face a prison sentence for flashing us children, which is why I'm grateful for MBF for her own justice being brought upon him. TLDR, friend of a friend indecently exposes himself in front of a bunch of minors. Mum's friend burns him alive with an iron and boiling water. Forgot to add, POS did attempt to kill himself because of the trial and his injuries, along with his girlfriend breaking up with him, and failed. He was put into a psychiatric ward for 3 months, and has subsequently been told he's no longer allowed in our town. Holy jeez. It's like the video, I stuck a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass. that video. Except it's a whole bottle. Like, what? How do you get a bottle up the ass? He's gonna have a geisha's asshole for a while though. I'm too focused on the ass because he also got burnt on the face and the back. Jeez. Like, Jigsaw called. He says, don't do that. That makes you a murderer. And with that, I'm going to end this episode here. Links will be in the description to my main channel and also the second channel, along with links on the screen to the playlist in the last episode. Go check them out. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. A ding, a ding. I'm the Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist out.